himself a nice bundle of cash. Now we'll see what happens in this one. Is in the bottom right corner, and we will kick off with the blue Terran player from Team Liquid. This is Clem, taking on the red Zerg in the bottom left-hand side from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. We do have Dark. Alright, first map of this best of 5. We start on Blackburn. The one which has absolutely had a lot of discussion to it in just the entirety of this, duration it's been in the map pool. Terrans loved it, then Zergs kind of liked it for roaches for a while. It has been a map which has just seen a lot of different uses. It's seen a lot of different kind of phases. Excited to see what they bring out of it this time around between the two. As Dark is obviously definitely a player who is absolutely happy to play a whole bunch of roach stuff as well. So, while we don't remember going full-on roaches against Maru, Dark's been the player who's been opening just early defensive roaches for a long time, and that always opens the door to being able to play more aggressive roach attacks, or just kind of transitioning into a more macro-focused game. And that's kind of scary, because then you're always worried about the roach attack, which isn't necessarily always on its way. And that obviously, creates some issues as well. As the Overlord continues across down to the bottom right-hand side, and just going to be seeing that SCV starting to move out, making its way through the bottom and across to the bottom left. So a little bit of scouting from Clem here as we get started. That's a great way of writing the stats. 6-0 in series and 50-0 in maps in the last few months. Yeah, apart from like a best of one here and there, it really has just been dark when these two have played each other, which is crazy, because when I think back to the first, what I think of when I think of Clock versus Dem, Clem versus Dark, is I think of that TSL series, that best of 7 that was freaking incredible, just ridiculous game after ridiculous game. I think of that. I don't think of Clem being like, on a huge losing streak or anything, but the series have just not been like that since that series, so it's definitely been something to consider. That obviously times are not as they used to be. I was going to be seeing that Reaper coming through, looking for a bunch of those lings. Drone going to go in and hit the engineering bay. Just gets across and is able to start up the extractor. And just going to be having the Reaper coming back around. Trying to see what else is going on here. Queen going to put some damage out. Reaper gets there to be able to pop that Queen around. Last still coming up, and just going to be seeing, the engineering bay is nice. Clem does this a lot on this map, because obviously it just stops the typical base you want to take as the Zerg from going up. And so it just delays that quite heavily. You do not want to take the forward base. It's way too good for the Terran to attack into. So you obviously just want to stay away from that as much as possible. Lings will continue against the engineering bay, and Dark will give himself the chance to take this base, but not before the drone goes down. Clem, with the persistence on this Reaper, finally gets it. And he's going to be able to shut this drone down, and that's obviously a big victory for Clem. Just getting rid of a drone early game is oftentimes just a bit of a mental victory more than anything else as well. So, has to be able to grab that as this Reaper is going to go down. The Queens have it forced into the corner, able to pick it off. That's a nice little removal. As the couple of Hellions still move forward, they're going to get rid of a couple more of these Lings. Now you've got Hellions in this mineral line, and this is becoming more and more of an issue, right? Third hatchery isn't down. You've got Hellions in your main base looking to deal damage. You've already had a drone, be delayed as well. This is a couple drone kills, and there's just no units out. 6 drones dead, 8 drones dead. My goodness, Clem is just running away with this game. Yeah, just kills all of the Lings. There's no Ling speed. What are we doing, dog? We've got no Ling speed. More Hellions will just be so scary. Unfortunately, for Clem, there's only 2 more Hellions. He decided to go heavily into the Marines, which might just be fine anyway against what's going to be fast mutas. There was just no defense there. None in the slightest. And this 2 base muta attempt from Dark now is going to be a real all-or-nothing Hail Mary. This is basically it, as we do have our Stimpack coming up to completion. The extra barracks going down. Clem's already on 3 CC. As long as he's got a defense, he's got a bunker up, so he's just prepared in case of any kind of all-in or aggression. I think there's no way that Dark can bust through Clem, and he is not in a position to play a long game. There's no way you just turn this around into something which suddenly works for you. It's just it's just not reasonable to expect that, honestly. So, yeah, I think this is going to be Clem walking off with a first map in this series already, because this has just gotten completely out of hand. Definitely a strong way to open a series. Definitely a little bit of a statement to get things started right. As you see the few meters making their way along, just going to come through the bottom side of the map. And the medevacts have loaded up a bunch of units already. They're going to start moving along as well, so that's just going to start moving across. And, well, the meters are going to arrive. To be fair, there's no defense here. Clem kind of didn't think there was going to be anything aggressive coming, so he salvaged up the bunker. The problem is if all these meters are across the map, there's nothing defending. So while Clem was going to lose a lot of SCVs, Dark is going to lose a lot of drones, right? Like, there is nothing over here. Can we somehow get a defense together? If Dark can get a defense going, then maybe he wins the game, because obviously the damage he's doing is insane, but yeah, he's going to take just as much damage over here. These Marines will just refuse to die to what is Lings and a couple of Queens. It's not even a high Queen count, and Clem's unit's just much better at kind of dealing damage and just much more versatile and playing the game out. Hence the GG, and hence game number 1 on the way of Clem. Alright, in the bottom right-hand side, we do have, this time around, hopefully for real, the red Zerg player. This is Dark. And the top left from Team Liquid, the blue Terran player, is Clem. Well, we'll see what Clem opts for on Berlingrad. I wonder if he'll try and play a safe Banshee style, or if he'll just try and do something else. I wouldn't be shocked to see him play like a double gas Banshee or something along those lines. I think that matches up well with what Dark is likely to do, and you know, just Clem probably feeling good about this map if he can just survive the early stages. So let's see. Extractor and a pool coming down from Dark, but that's all after a hatchery first, so it's really nothing too ridiculous across the map. It's pretty regular and pretty much what you'd expect to see for the moment. Now there's Reaper on the way as well, so it's going to be popping out soon. I'll be able to come and help out as well, I'd imagine. And Orbital, CC, all coming in, hatchery pool, etc. building up as well. Very, an interesting opening, I suppose, at the moment. We'll see if Clem takes a second gas soon. That's a real telltale sign as this factory continues along. Now, it would be kind of about the second gas timing if you want to take it. If he doesn't, maybe then 3cc. You could still play Banshee off the 3cc and kind of get that safety net of defense with like a Banshee in case of some roaches and stuff. So, there's definitely still some choices there. And some opportunity for things to mix up a little bit and to change as you come and just have the Reaper and Queen and start skirmishing with each other. The CC finishes on the low ground, and there is indeed a third CC in the main base. So in this case, we see a starport, factory goes to the reactor, we start Hellion production, and then we really, again, question becomes what builds off the starport? Do we indeed get that Banshee? And what is Dark going to do? You know, this is a link speed opening right now. No Roach Run or anything just yet. So, what is his plan? It's funny because sometimes I feel like Dark when he plays Roaches, like that's almost signature Dark TvZ, right? Playing that Roach opener and something that not everyone does as much as he did. But some of the scariest Dark ZVT is when he plays Ling Bane and plays those melee upgrades, because then his army can just be so freaking good. So freaking powerful. As you see our Hellions fighting with these Philistrous Zerglings, and well, these Lings kind of run in. They get a great scout, and they will get one SCV building the command center there. It's a good scouting information, but that's pretty much all he gets. I mean, he does see a second Rax as well, so he knows it's also not a starport right away, so he gets really good info, to be fair. Lose the Lings, and we'll have to make a couple more of those, though. Obviously, the Hellions coming across the map. You'll just need a few Lings to help zone these out and make sure they don't get too much done. It's going to drop a grenade, and that's going to bop the Queens over to the other side. So the Queens not just going to be nudged out of position, and this is where losing those first couple of Lings is going to be painful as Clem will look for some drone kills. He will get maybe a few. He's actually starting to fight Lings now. He could have had a couple more drones. He decided to start hitting the Lings instead, and I think I want to say that that was a mistake. I think it probably would have been better for him if he'd just gone for the drones right away instead of Lings. Because I feel like he would have had 4 or 5 instead of just a couple. Then again, it's always so hard to say, because what if Dark has just pulled his workers back properly and stuff as well, right? Then it's a tough one to say exactly, that's for sure. Austin, what's up? Thank you so much for the 75-month resub. Can't believe you've been here for 3 centuries already. Well, especially when I have beef with you, you know? Especially when, you know, apparently I hate you and everything you do. It is impressive. Thank you so much for the 3 centuries of subscribing. As Dark, gonna run in with the Lings. A couple of Hellions help out a lot in these scenarios. Just a little bit of splash goes a long way into helping against those, you know, basically the Lings, and just softening them up so Marines can finish them off much more quickly. And Clem's now about to have Stimpack finishing, still producing an extra Hellion or so as well. With the armory coming up, you'll have Hellbats to add into this. I'm really worried for Dark. He doesn't have a Baneling Nest, he doesn't have a Roadroran. He's only got 5 Queens. It just doesn't feel like the setup is there for him at all to defend against a bunch of Stin Marines coming across the map, especially with Hellbat support. With Hellbat support, then absolutely not. It feels like there's absolutely nothing ready to go here. Well, it's a little bit crazy as the medevacs will start to make their way out down to the bottom right, so away they go. A couple Lings get picked off. The Hellions will continue to move along. And it's just going to be Cena. Queen coming through, just going to be having the Lings going to run by into the natural expansion. Going to get a little surround on a few of these Marines already, so a few Marines going down. Creep spread continuing to be cleaned out. Hellbats, Marines all just pressing forward. I mean, SCVs continue to drop, but oh, this is not pretty, is it? We're going to see the drones continue to pull on in. The Queens trying to fight against this army. I mean, okay, the counterattack is something at least, but this attack has done at least enough to make up for the counterattack that Dark has done. And, I mean, Clem ain't done yet, right? His units are still alive, whereas Dark's counterattack is already cleaned out. So Clem will chase down all these Queens. Extra Lings are popping on, going to do much. I think Dark is right to run those away and to try and get them into Banelings, as the Bane Nest is moments from finishing. But Clem is just kind of killing Dark in the early game in these maps. I mean, this is kind of one-sided so far. Game 1 and 2 having somewhat similar setup. I mean, different setups completely in reality, but the idea is the same, is that Dark's defense just isn't good early game. The preparation for the units just isn't there. I mean, Clem still has units going, and a 2-0 lead is established, and Clem making this look easy. This was absolutely not the expectation when we went into this series today. When I thought Dark versus Clem, I thought if it's going to be quick and one-sided, it's Dark going to be winning a lot of quick games. I did not think it was going to be the other way around. It was off-racing. I don't think I'd expect Mary to be dying in the ways that Dark is dying. That's not to hate on Dark, I don't want to be harsh or anything, just Mario is like very high MMR with his off-races, so it's actually kind of nutty. This is going to be seen on the bottom left-hand side, down 0-2. Obviously, even if he loses the series, he can still try and play for the map wins. Every map is worth $60. We'll play all 5 maps anyway. It always feels good to win the series. It's nice to not have that go against you on the Olimoleague. And in the bottom left, it is the red Zerg player, Dark. And on the top right, it is going to be our blue Terran player from Team Liquid, Clem. Alright, quite an opening so far then. Clem just firing away with the first few units in the last couple games. Going off to some quick, strong starts as Irax goes down, the gas about to finish up, and a hatchery on the natural. So Overlord of Dark is going to begin to move across to the upper right side of the map. Away we go. Plus, if he's popping out Marine production, just going to be seeing the lack of a Reaper immediately once again, going to create a little bit of intrigue at least. Just to see what Clem is going to set up for in total. If that's the case. Of course, Dark still has a lot of his good maps to play. Obviously, Hardwire is a Zerg map, Belligerent Ashes is a Zerg map. He also has 2 West Coast servers to play. Map 3 and Map 5 will play on West. So, you know, you talk about him being 0-2 down. He's 0-2 down with a positive future ahead. I imagine you have Glitter and Ashes and 2,000 atmospheres after Hardwire here. So, I mean, typically, for the most part, I'd say good maps compared to playing on, you know, Blackburn and Berlingrad. So, like I say, the end of this series at least has some positive potential for Dark. Should create something of a factor as the SCV comes through. I'm just going to get up to the high ground. We're actually going to keep on Reactor Marines, so Clem switching it up, but as is Dark. Putting a Roach Roaring down already on the other side of the map, so he's immediately going to set up for a little bit of aggression right here. So again, that Roach Roaring down. Queen at the front, going to press forward and just going to continue to spread some creep as we do see a Hellion of Clem starting to move down to the bottom left-hand side. So away we go with the Hellion. And a few Roaches continuing up from Dark as well. All of that in reduction for the moment here as the Queen shows up, puts some damage onto the Hellion. Obviously, we're just waiting for these Roaches, but what's cool for Clem is obviously you're playing the Marines on the Reactor, so it's kind of best case scenario for Clem, because worst case would be if it was Reactor and Hellions, because Hellions don't trade well against Roaches. At least he's making more Marines than anything else. This one Hellion really wants to see the Roaches. The first 2 have slipped by. Now I believe he has seen it, so now he kind of knows what's up. And we do see a Tech Lab immediately going down the factory. The unit's just going to hang out in the high ground, and he will start the bunker as well. So Clem begins the defenses, begins to get those established. Gets himself ready to hold on and defend right now. We're just continuing to the upper right. The Ravager there going to morph in as well. Marines collecting together. Bunker still just building. Should be finished fairly soon. There's a couple of Roaches move in. SCV takes a shot, takes another shot. Marines just jump on the first few Roaches, man. Yeah, the first couple of Roaches actually take a lot of damage very quickly. I actually think that's not too crazy of a situation. It's something that can happen, where you just, obviously, the first couple of Roaches just on their own don't deal a lot of damage. I feel like the Ravagers are meant to be some of the bigger damage dealers kind of behind there, and they didn't really show up this time around, as we do have the Roach Ravager coming through. Still trying to see if there's anything else to be done with the tank here now as well. It seems very unlikely that much else is really going to happen. The drones went down, at least from Clem on the counter-attack as well. And this is also nice for him. So honestly, puts Clem into a decent spot to start out. Gets a couple of extra racks going, so he'll begin to progress into his future setup. As you see, the refineries going down on the natural. Still drops down. Just going to see the engineering base still coming up. Lab building. Extra drones are producing. There's a lot more extractors continuing to build at the moment, so a lot of those coming up. Barracks from Clem continue to build, the engineering base coming through. He's going to go up to 5 racks pretty quickly. I mean, he's got the 3rd CC already started, so he's just going to power up into a lot of bio units. That's, of course, where Clem plays his best StarCraft too, and he's got a lot of bio on the map, a lot of stuff ready to go. Definitely getting set up towards that right now, so good for Clem, as we do have, again, extra barracks coming in. Evolution chambers are building. Lair is about to complete. Got a few overlords also just producing from Dark. I mean, my issue for Dark is, yes, he's got a few Roaches, but that's kind of all he has. He's got no upgrades or anything just yet. I mean, he's on his way. Evo chambers are finishing. It shouldn't be too far off from, getting all of this started. We'll start our missiles, then we're going to start the Carapace. But it's also just Roaches, right? I mean, Roaches are good to an extent, but where are we going to take these roaches to? Typically, if you play this roach style, and you don't hit a 1-1 roach timing, then you're probably going to have to start thinking about playing into Hive Tech, and probably a couple Vipers and into Lurkers, well, as the Infestation Pit and the Hydra Den going down in sync. I think you kind of got to play towards that, because if you don't play towards that, what are you really playing for? Like, pure Roach Ravager ain't going to do much. You could maybe play a Ravager Lean Bane, get up to Hive Tech, and then Vipers. I think in this case, he's going to try and play Roach Hydra into Lurker. Seems to be the choice at the moment. No, to be honest, I don't really hate that either. I think that's kind of just fine. As the missiles and carapace all finish up in the next minute or so, we'll already have Clem on 1-1. And this is what I mean. Usually these Roach builds come with a initial wave of power in the form of, you know, a 1-1 timing, something to throw the Terran back, to offset the Terran a little bit. It just doesn't feel like we're going to get that here this time around, so really am interested as to what the hell's going to happen, guys. Very, very intrigued as to what goes down. Couple tanks load up and away they go. Bioforce already stepping forward, and, well, Extractor's going to start going down. Roaches, Lings, and Ravagers taking damage as well. This is going to be, honestly, maybe the scariest push, because your Lurker Den's not ready. This is just Roach Ravager. As Clem has 1-1 against 0-0. Everything is here for Clem, and nothing is here at all for Dark. 2 Infestors. Yeah, if only they had any energy to really do any, you know, spellcasting with. Clem's going to kill the 4th base, put himself in a great spot. There is a Fungal, and Clem, honestly, I feel like that was kind of bad from Clem. I feel like he could have absolutely been more prepared for that, because I'm pretty sure he saw the Infestors popping out. I feel like maybe a little bit overconfident staying clumped up, but I mean also one of those question marks as to does it really matter? Is Clem not just going to win this anyway? The base already went down. Now these Infestors out of energy. The tanks have been putting in a crap ton of firepower as well. Obviously now at least the upgrades are done from Dark, so it gives you a better chance of survival. That's going to be seeing the Bioforce coming back down, chasing after the Roaches and the Ravagers. And the tank gets shot down by a Bile. This is just going to be too much. Clem's going to take the 3-0, and now Dark's just going to be playing for cash. Again, every map gets played, but yeah. I mean, again, it's always fun to see who can win the series overall, but Clem's, you know, if this was just a best of 5, Clem has absolutely just dominated the best of 5. I think it would be fair to say. These last few Roaches still aren't enough to break through the tank force. I mean, let that be, you know, a statement basically as to where we're at in this game right now and just how powerful this push of Clem was. Dog just can't get anything together. Obviously, this game started with a rough start where the Roach attack didn't match up well against the build of Clem, and it didn't do really any damage at all. Clem, yeah, 4th base on his way to 2-2 upgrades. He really has just got everything continuing for himself. As a couple of drones continue to drop, Clem is going to take a 3-0. Like I say, maps 4 and 5 will be played anyway, but Clem just dominating the early game in these games so far. And in the top right-hand side, our blue Zerg player down 0-3. Like I say, I know everyone's going to be like, best of 5? I'm going to turn the best of 5 part off, I guess, because people will stop asking more questions. But yeah, Dark is our blue Zerg top right, and hopefully and maybe start making something happen. Glitter and Ashes for map 4. Again, every map worth $60. Not bad for playing a map of StarCraft 2. Let's see if he can get himself some extra cash. Already did well against Banner, like I say, but I'm sure would love to pick up even more. As in the bottom left, our red Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. Overlord of Dark will move across the map here early. And we'll see what our choices are going to be here. Honestly, if I'm Clem, I'm probably thinking I do something fairly aggressive early. It's been working so far. Try and catch him off guard on this large Zerg-favored map, typically. So catch him off guard, get some damage done. Maybe that gives you the momentum to carry through. And with the way Dark's been playing, it's very possible that just does very well and puts you into a great position. And if it doesn't, well, yeah, obviously you're playing to win every single map, right? But you've already done the majority of the work here on this one, so definitely some questions to be asked right now. Let's see what Clem sets up with in the next little while. Obviously, his Reaper is producing, so we're going to go back to a Reaper opening here for Glitter and Ashes. We've been seeing some non-Reaper openings from Clem as well, which are not really too off-meta or off-beat. That's very much so an expectation to see some non-Reaper openings in a longer TvZ nowadays. You do not have to go Reaper every single game. That's a thing of the past. I mean, you could always mix it up a little bit, but now more than ever, you can mix it up a whole bunch without being punished or run into trouble, it would seem, so. Seems like a factor as Reaper comes up to the top. SCV is moving down along the bottom. Away we go with that. Infactory just building reactor on the barracks. A couple extra queens coming through. Things are still building, and the Reaper is going to get a few shots off. Starting to fight against those Zerglings a little bit. A little bit of back and forth so far. Then Queen comes in. Reaper taking a few hits as once again. Reaper does get pushed back, and just going to drop a creep tumor down. Obviously, one of the big things about a map without a ramp is getting that first creep tumor down at the front, because the Reaper can deny it, especially when it doesn't need high ground vision or anything, so that happens a lot of the time, as you do see. They're just moving around the top. Feelings will wrap around the creep tumor. Another grenade going down. We get the creep tumor kill. The creep tumor is denied, and Lings and Queen together will start to keep this defended. Clem, Starport, 3cc as well, so just playing into the 3cc Starport. I mean, very just standard macro play for him. I honestly do think you go Banshee this game, actually. Glitter and Ashes is a map where, yes, it's a Zerg map, and it's big, so they don't necessarily roach attack you a whole bunch, but it's more so about the fact that, obviously, if you play with the Banshee, you have the chance to maybe just do some initial damage and put some pressure out, and that maybe gives your kind of follow-up attack a little bit of a momentum boost at the start, and it's just building on damage, right? While the map is large and that sucks for reinforcing, the first push can still be good, especially if you do some Banshee damage, and again, it's just that knock-on effect. I like Banshees on this map. I feel like it's, if you don't do something like crazy, like a Hellbat attack or so, I feel like it's one of your better chances of putting the game into a state where you can just have a good go of it without it becoming all too crazy or ridiculous. When does the new patch come into effect? It'll be probably towards the end of the month, I would imagine. There's no official date on it or anything, but we can make a couple assumptions. I think end of the month or so would be realistic. Definitely, I would say before the new season of the EPT starts in May. So I imagine that's the deal they have with Blizzard. That will be, whatever they do is going to be set up before May, basically. Isn't it on PTR first? Yeah, it's already on PTR right now. So guys, map number 4 here again, and a lot of people asking what's going on. Yes, again, they continue to play. They play all 5 maps, so you can still play maps 4 and 5. That's how this tournament works. Every map is worth money. It's not necessarily a best of 5, it's just 5 maps played. Do we know what the new patch will do? Yes. It's all announced as patch notes. Like I say, it's already live on the PTR. I would just say check Battle.net or check all StarCraft or something. I'm sure you'll find it. It's easier than me listing off the things that change. I guess the TLDR is Lurkers, Adaptive Talons are nerfed, Drilling Claws is nerfed for Widow Mines, Queens can't transfuse off creep, Void Rays cost more, and Nidus has like a slight buff to make Nidusing with Queens a little bit better despite the Queen transfusion nerf. I think that's it. Off the top of my head. Maybe I'm missing one thing. Maybe I'm missing one thing, but I think that's about all. 7 drones go down, by the way. Oh, the shield battery nerf. Yes, batteries start with less energy if they're not connected to a nexus. There you go. That's the one I was forgetting. Ah, and DT blink. Yes, DT blink. DTs can't attack after blinking. So they can't jump on something and insta-attack. It basically nerfs DTs in those engagements where they like jump on like a Terran army. I don't think it makes much of a difference on like a planetary fortress. I don't think the reaction time changes too much, and 3 swipes is still 3 swipes. I mean, it slows it down a bit, but I think mostly it stops DTs kind of jumping on a Terran army and just being like, haha, these ultra harasser units are now amazing at fighting as well, because, you know, that was actually a big problem. They could just kind of take fights against smaller groups of units, and it was very difficult to ever actually clean out a group of DTs as a Terran player without heavily committing like a massive clump of units to it, so... It's going to be seen. Our Marines going to stand here and fight. The Lings get surround. Thumbs up in supply. The saving grace in this game is potentially the fact that this is going to be glitter and ashes, and so the momentum doesn't build up on this map as much as it does on some of the other maps. But this really relies on Dark surviving this first wave of attack, which is arriving right about now. Marines, Hellbats, and tanks are all pressing forwards up to the top. We get rid of a changing on the right side. We'll stim a few Marines forward. Creep Tumors are already dropping. A Queen being chased away, and this looks as though it's going to be trouble for Dark, who is supply blocked. Oh man, this is a crap ton of Terran. Moving forwards here, Clem looking to make this happen. The Banelings need to connect, basically, to have a successful time on this defense, and they honestly did pretty well. The Marine count is not great coming out of this. This could have been a whole bunch better for sure. Is just going to be seeing a few extra Banes coming through. Clem targets fire a few of them. The Banes then go off on the tank. Dark is going to clean this up, but Clem will still have a supply lead coming out the back end of this one. Wow. Alright, well, Clem's going to reinforce. More units coming across. Like, creep tumors are building off creep. We should nerf that, guys. Creep tumors can't build off creep anymore. Fun little scenario. Obviously, they just build at the last second before the creep dissipated. It looks kind of funny a few moments down the line. No Banelings here, so the Lings running in do not have a good time at all. They take a bunch of damage as you continue with the +2 attack upgrade on the Engineering Bay. And these Marines and the Mines all pressing forward. The Banshee's still overhead, putting out a little bit of extra damage as well, guys. So all of that still continuing here. Let's just have our Marines pressing through. Pulling Bane Hydra. Looks as though it's going to come forward once again. Widow Mine shot is good, though. Friendly fire is deadly. That Widow Mine in the back actually does pretty well. Mine's actually connecting across the board okay. Clan actually doesn't have the... upgrades I kind of expect him, not the upgrades, yes, the upgrades I expect him to right now. He's down on 1-1 versus 2-2, and he's also only shot +2 attacks, no armor upgrade. And with Dark defending this, starts to get into a very good position for Dark, actually. Holding this off, and now going to have a bit of an upgrade lead. We'll have an armor lead throughout, basically. Definitely starting to look really, really good here. It's going to be seeing our Overseer on the side, going to get set up. All these Lings gathering together. A couple of Hydras as well. More Banelings morphing on the side of Dark. And, well, he's going to try and bust down some rocks and go forwards and make something happen, it would seem, guys. So a few Banelings just going to be morphing on in and just going to be seeing the Lurkers continuing through. I mean, as the first Lurkers come to this game, obviously this game changes massively. They don't have their upgrades yet, so there'll be a little while before they're the super awesome OP Lurkers. I say OP, but the super awesome Lurkers you kind of rely on a lot of the time as a Zerg, but definitely a good way to get them up and running, as we do see our Medivac's not going to be able to do much here. Clem's still a supply lead, but as Lurker upgrades finish, I do think we're going to have ourselves a... some more troubles for Clem. Great defense from Dark. He really had to pull out the defense in that first attack, and he really did it. And now he busts down the fourth base. Removing the economy of his opponent is obviously a pretty big deal. Every time you remove an economy here, it's going to help you out a whole bunch. It's just going to make it so you can trade ineffectively, but mine a whole bunch more, and that's basically the game plan in most TvZs. Clem's scanning up other bases as well, trying to get a read on the saturation of the bases of Dark, see just how much he's mining at the moment. A couple Banes go down. These Lings still moving through. Medivac's are going to load up Marines. The Hydra's coming across. The Banshee being chased. Banshee just about staying alive. And now we're just going to be seeing the medevac there gets picked off as well. More Marines joining together. A couple of libs coming through, moving up this right-hand side. The changelings will all go down. And again, as our Liberators siege up, our Marines will just continue in. And, well, all these Lings being picked away at. Move up the right side. The Ling Bane going to run on out of here. A lot of Banelings continue to take a lot of damage. Queen's going to be in some trouble as well, perhaps, as we do have Clem with a hell of a fight. Wow, he did a lot there. He got a really good trade going for himself, and now he lifts up, he backs away. He resets a little bit, but he's still got the position. He doesn't have to fall too far back. With a couple libs and attack, maybe he can do something against these lurkers, which are currently just building a little too far forward, I feel like. Dark is setting up a counterattack or a flank. Looks like a flank in the end, as we are engaging up on the top side. Marines come through, and Ling's going down. There's no Banelings here. Liberator fire is working against the lurkers. Is Dark going to be able to hold on against this? I don't think so. The Lings that are running in aren't doing anything. And I actually think Clem's going to take this map as well. Oh my goodness, Clem making a statement today. This one definitely felt like it was going back in favor of Dark. Felt like Dark had gained enough control over it, but, well, yeah, Clem just had this push. And I think Dark just never got to the lurker count he wanted to be on, right? I mean, I honestly felt like he was so close to getting to the stage of the game, which on Glitter and Ashes is very difficult to play against as a Terran, especially a Clem who's not been setting up into late game. He's still missing an upgrade. He didn't have Ghost or anything ready. And this game's not over because Dark's going to push this back one more time, but it's definitely become a lot closer than it felt like it was going to be. It's just been great games today, hasn't it? Clem was well. The Clem, well, yeah, some games have been great today. This has been probably the most fun ZVT we've had so far between Clem and Dark. Maybe not all the games have been great, but this one is actually making up for some of the other games, I suppose. I'm just going to be seeing a few units lifting up, and the Hydra's Lings continuing across. So Clem actually now losing a lot of his momentum. And suddenly Dark does have a supply lead back in his favor, and is perhaps a step back into this game again. So maybe a step back in for Dark here. Very exciting. Like I say, the back and forth is very fun so far. That's going to be seeing our +1 missiles coming through. Ling Bane still coming up. The lurker production continuing. His drone's going to get going on the side there as well. Plenty of units coming into the middle of the map as Ling Bane runs forward. Hydra's coming through as well. Just going to be seeing the medevacs loading up and just escaping out of here. The Ling Bane is still chasing through. And the tank fire is going to be trying to help out with a mine shot. Actually goes towards the bio. Doesn't actually do too much friendly fire. Man, this game's just been back and forth. Now it feels like Clem is almost hopelessly attacking. And he just doesn't have anywhere near enough. After it felt like Dark was the one that was absolutely just in too much trouble. Absolute madness. As Clem actually might just be out of this one now. He might be in too much trouble indeed. Oh, really crazy game here on Glitter and Ashes. Definitely the one that makes this whole series the most entertaining. Ling Bane and Lurk is coming through again. It feels like Dark's not had a Lurk account going for minutes now. Here we go, Ling Bane, Hydra Lurker moving down the ramp or down this bottom side. Gonna go running through. Widowmines do friendly fire a lot of the Terran units there. You can see they drop low on HP. He's gonna get a bit of a spread going out, but will it be enough against the Lurkers? No, it will not be. Clem, he had a moment where it looked as though he was going to be able to get enough done, but it wasn't enough in the end. GG's, and Dark is going to get a map. Well, let's jump on down to the bottom left-hand side with the red Zerg player. This is Dark. Gets a map win, and obviously able to put one on the board, get some extra prize money today. We'll see if we can do it once again here on 2000 Atmospheres now. As in the top right, the blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. You're going to be team whoever gets Reno and whoever gets Cyril. Amazing, slowly. How about Team Diego? I'm going to be Team Diego, man. I'm excited to have my own team. I didn't get a team last time, guys. I'm buzzing. I'm actually going to get my own team this time. What a great addition. Hell yeah. Alright, setting up into this map number 5, as you just have Iraq starting and the Overlord heading across to the upper right-hand side. Will the drafting process be streamed? Yes. Roddy convinced me to do it live, even though it's probably going to be a complete mess. We're going to draft live. So, yeah, that's the plan. I will set something up to make that workable. When is the drafting? We don't have anything organized schedule-wise in that regard yet, guys. I'm working on that this coming week. Obviously, we can only do it live if all the casters are available at the same time in the same place, so that's something I have to check on, but it should be possible. It should be doable. It means we can also do the free-for-all just as part of that as well. So we'll play the free-for-all, we'll get our draft orders, and then we'll jump into the drafting from there. I should honestly be very fun. Yeah, you guys will just have to bear with me for that stream. It'll be I'm gonna have to be like trying to pick my own player while also doing the production stuff. It's gonna be. I need to hire an assistant. I need an assistant manager for my team, guys. Alright, a couple of Hellions coming through at the moment. Marines join up on the low ground, and I'm just going to be seeing our starport finishing up as well, so that's going to be a medevac on the way as Clem will ramp up the pressure and aggression a little bit here. Can we stream that too, like the free-for-all into the draft? Yeah. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll stream the free-for-all straight into the draft, obviously. The free-for-all was always going to be streamed to some extent. Maybe I'll get someone to... I don't know how it'll work, but maybe I'll get someone to cast the free-for-all on... we'll make it work. Maybe I'll play the free-for-all on my side, and then if I get eliminated, I'll have my second PC in, and then we'll go into the draft straight after. I think that's the best way to do it. If we're going to stream the draft live, then we may as well do the free-for-all straight beforehand. Makes the most sense, I think. Is this the final game? Yes, this will be the final game of the day. Let's talk a bit about it, shall we? Liberator on the way up, as Clem is already pressuring with the Marine Hellions, so already getting in to put a little bit of damage out. Hellions will morph into Hellbats, and I'm going to commit to trying to get something done early. He's going to jump on these Queens on the top side. The Ling's coming in on the bottom, and they're going to go down pretty quick, but the Medevac's already dead. Medevac dying hurts a lot. I mean, the Medevac is something which is really going to elongate how long these units can stay alive for, and just how much they can get done, so losing it so quickly really makes you feel like this attack is going to be a little bit of a flop more than anything else. Another Ling goes down. Hellbats continue to chase the Queens, continuing to deal whatever damage they can. And this is going to be a hold from Dark. So good defense in the early game of game number 5. Puts them into a strong starting point at least. Lings come in, going to wrap around. A couple of Hellions going to get picked off, and just going to be seeing the Lings running by as a couple of Marines get picked off as well. I'm just going to GG out. The counterattack is just in, so he's going to take damage, and he's obviously not content with that. And that just puts him too far behind in GG's.